I've been manipulative and prey on certain things, it's because I'm a man.
Right.
And
But not all men do that. We don't want to blanket
I'm a
all
man,
men.
and I
All
was taking
men do
advantage.
not prey and manipulate. Not all men.
First of all humans prey and manipulate, but in a man.
Hey guys, welcome to Dark Arts Podcast. We're talking to you guys about whether all men are manipulators and predators. Can I just say this straight away? No, not all men are manipulative and predators. But there's a hell of a lot of men, including myself, who've lived that particular lifestyle, who have been quote unquote predators and manipulative. And when I say that, what I mean by that is that it's hunting season, right? When it comes, if you're a man that's able to procure and get many women, it's because you understand how to hunt, which makes you quote unquote a predator. I don't mean in the most heinous or evil ways, but I mean that in the sense of go and get, right? And so what Nick Cannon's actually really doing, he's being very black and white and blunt. Actually, this is actually an art of seduction. I can't lie to you. You may not know it. Being very blunt and very truthful, women fall for this. So him being very straight to the point, not lying, being very direct and saying, listen, this is what I want. A lot of women are going to be turned on by that. And once you understand that, that is where the manipulation kicks in. Because you see, once you understand the opposite sex and you know what makes them tick, when you use that power for your own good, you do become a manipulator and a predator. And that's just simply what it is. But I'm going to break it down a little bit more in the next few minutes about this particular video, because I think Nick Cannon does expose a real conversation amongst men that do get women. The men that don't get women may be feeling offended by this conversation, but let's be very honest. This world is a very dark place. This is why we call it dark arts, right? Which is dark arts is really us actually exposing some of the manipulation and the skills and the behaviors that elicit people to be seduced. And one of them is this brutal truth and honesty. But he also talks about something else, which I personally don't like doing. I never liked doing. I didn't think it was cool, which is the lying aspect. And when I mean the lying aspect in terms of like becoming all that person wants you to be. And I can't remember what art, that's actually an art seduction. So I'll probably do a second video on that actually. It's actually an art seduction to become everything that person wants you to be in that immediate moment. It's lying, it's masquerading, but it's an art of seduction. It's a form of getting and entering into somebody else's spirit, as Robert Greene would say, right, from his book. But we're going to break it down a little bit more for you in the next few minutes as well about this topic. But if you're new here, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of uploads. You want to hear more about my thoughts about all men are manipulators and predators? Yeah, this is a video for you. You know what I'm saying? Chew, let's break it all the way down. Let's go.
Not in a praying way. Not in a praying way.
If I see that I can say, okay, I feel like I need this and this person has this, I'm gonna do and say whatever I need to do to get that.
But
now let's pause it right there. Now, for me personally, I agree. I understand what he's saying. I don't agree with it from a moral perspective, but I do understand what he's saying, right? It's almost like when we say there's honor amongst thieves. There is, but there isn't honor amongst the murderers. Like you're a thief, but you're a murderer. We don't look at you the same way, right? In the same way, there's some people who are emotional F-boys who take it way too far. And I don't personally like it, but I understand it because I understand the mindset, because I'm not that much different. So let's be honest, whether I look at somebody and look at their sin that's greater than mine makes no difference. What we're talking about right now is him saying right now that if I want it, I'm going to go and get it. What does that mean? I'm going to do whatever I need to do, which means I'm going to put on the mask and I'm going to behave exactly how you want me to behave in order to seduce you to get what I want. Well, we see this like in films a lot of times, right? Where the character will become a chameleon in order to seduce the target in order to get what it wants to get. Okay, and so what he's really breaking down here is that for him, his game is the way he plays women is that whatever you want him to be, he will be. Now, here's how someone might be saying that's really bad. The way to combat that is be your true authentic self and know what true authenticity looks like. For instance, here's my thing. He can never lie to me about being a Christian. A woman can never lie to me about being a Christian now. Here's why. Because my fire that I have for God and my fire that I have for Christ Jesus, right, will inevitably burn you out. Meaning the way I talk about God, the way I move about God, the way I'm going to expect you on a certain level, when you start behaving a certain way, I'm going to look at you like, that ain't really of Christ. That ain't really it. So more than likely, I'm not going to get fooled by that. A bit like somebody who works with jewels and works with expensive items. Once they spend a lot of time with that particular thing, they can tell the real from the fake. The reality is that many people haven't spent enough time with the real, so they don't know what fake looks like, which is what Dr. Cheyenne Bryant was actually really saying to him about being high functioning. Part of that is also understanding the realness of who you actually are and what you actually want. So he's able to trick a lot of women because he's able to seduce them, because he's able to play a particular role for a period of time. And then when it gets to a certain point, he removes that mask. The reality of the situation is, do you know what real looks like? See, many women want to be seduced. And the problem with that is because they want to be seduced, they're not paying attention to actually what they're actually seeing. And they actually end up seducing themselves. They end up lying to themselves in some essence, because part of the seduction is being able to let them lie to themselves, letting them fill the gaps in, letting them do the work in terms of putting words in areas that you never said anything. Right? That's the whole point of situationships. Situationships is an empty space of gray where we haven't said anything, and you then apply your own meaning to it. Right? The gray area. And so what he's saying here is that in reality, that yes, he'll become whatever you want, and that has worked for him. Now, the thing with this, I want to say this is this: it's very black and white, and that sounds scary. It just means he's not adding any sugar. The reality of the situation is he plays women. That's a nice way to say it, right? The truth of the matter is, as he's putting it to its purest core, is that in black and white terms, he is a predator and he is a manipulator, because he goes out to hunt. He has a certain type of woman that he wants and he likes. He knows a certain woman, and this is the thing, and this is also what predators do. They know their market. They know their arena and they know their prey. So their prey responds, just like a lion goes after an antelope. All right. A lion doesn't naturally hunt in the area of humans. Right now, of course, if a human goes into a arena, that's a different story. But lions don't naturally come into the concrete jungle and start hunting men. They start hunting antelope because they know their prey. Same thing when it comes to relationships and seducing women. These men know their type of women that they can seduce, which is what Dr. Bryant was highlighting. Low functioning women who don't have emotional intelligence, who have not actually sought time with themselves and understood the real, will not deny their own desires, even if it goes against what they actually want in totality. For instance, a woman might see Nick Cannon and know that he's no good. A woman might see Nick Cannon and know that he's not the one. A woman might interact with Nick Cannon and realize this is not what I actually want. But because there's another desire within themselves, right? There's an inability to deny themselves. There's an inability to stop the flesh, from taking over from the spirit. The Bible says that flesh and spirit, they begin to war with one another, right? The inability to be able to stop your flesh from taking what it wants will lead you down a path that you don't want to be in. In fact, Proverbs talks about this, about how a king and a man should not go down the path of an adulterous woman. Why? Because there'll be fire waiting for him. Now, why does a man go down the path of an adulterous woman when he can have other women? Well, because of the temptation. And there is no temptation that's overtaken any man that there isn't an exit point for them, right? The whole point is you want to be tempted. Okay. All right. So, and the thing is, when you sleep with many women, right, it does become hunting, because you start to learn what the preferences are of the prey. You know where they begin to gather and what they want. And so what you do is you begin to supply the source to the prey and say, this is me. Right. So for me, let me be honest, when I spent time in Egypt, and this is really bad, but I spent time in Egypt. Yes, it was predatory in the sense of, once you have power of understanding what the opposite sex is like. If I know, for instance, sleeping with you, I can tell somebody, listen, look, I don't want no relationship. All I want to do is have sex. And they'll be like, yeah, cool. Now, I know in the back of my mind that even though I've said that, I know that if I'm going to hit it good. I'm just going to be real with you. I'm going to hit it good. So I know that this is going to be a problem later on. I know it's going to be a problem because I know what good sex can do. I know what it does to the mind. I know how it changes the mind. I know how 1 minute you're saying, no, I don't want it. The next minute, like, actually, no, that was hitting. I want it more, or I want to have you more, or I want to have more of your time. I know what that means. I know what it means when I spend time with you, but I say I don't want a relationship, but I'm doing all the boyfriend aspects with you. I know what it means. I know what it does to you as a prey, quote unquote. I know what it does to you. I know what it does to you when I'm talking late at night, sharing things about my life. And then meanwhile, I've told you I don't want a relationship. I know what it does to you. Your mind starts thinking, well, why is he sharing all these deep things? He must want me. See, the whole point is words and action must align. Okay. Once you understand the opposite sex and know that for women, words move them, but for men, actions move them. Once you understand that principle, which is biblical, Adam and Eve, if you notice, right? Adam didn't speak, but Eve didn't speak either. She just gave over the fruit. She didn't say, now take it. She said, no words, no, just action. Men are moved by action of women. Women are moved by the words of men. And so I just know that speaking gonna get us in trouble. Me having conversations with you, it's gonna get you in trouble. Which is why a lot of men don't like certain quote unquote when women say they got a best friend that's a male. I mean, I have a best friend that's a female, but you know what I'm saying to you. But hey, there's exceptions of rules. They don't like that because they know that the talking is what's gonna get your panties off. It's not gonna be the action, it's gonna be the talking that gonna get you in your feelings. Right? So I understand what he's saying, Nick Cannon, here in this respect as well, right? Let's play a bit more.
Nick, again, law of attraction. We attract who we are despite of who we think we are. You use the word, you said women who are equally yoked to you.
Yeah.
Equally yoked comes in many different facets.
100%. Balance, if anything.
They have been equally yoked to your low functioning dysfunction that you have learned to survive in.
Because I use.
Yes, no, she's right. Here's the thing. When I was out there in the streets and I was in Egypt, what I told, and any woman who probably encountered me knows the story. I told him, I said, listen, why are you here with me? You gotta be honest with yourself. Why are you here with me? I had this conversation with any woman that I was sleeping with. I was like, why are you here with me? You need to know why you're here, because I know why I'm here. I'm here for a good time. I want to get in, I want to get out. Right? I'm not gonna be here forever. You know, God forgive me, I was a movement mad, but I'm not gonna be here forever. So you need to know why you are here, because if you know why you're here, then cool. Then you know what your objective is, meet your objective. But if you don't know your objective and you're just here by chance, or you know what, you just want to, you're not really sure, but you're trying to have a bit of fun and you don't know what fun you're trying to have, you're going to get caught up in these streets. Because I know why I'm here. So I know I'm going to be here for a while and I'm going to go. Right? And so the women that are going to be attracted to him, I realized it myself. Okay, so what woman was I attracting? I knew specifically I'm emotionally broken. I knew that I had the daddy issue wound. I knew that I didn't want to be committed right now. I knew also that for me personally, in my arena, it was I like people that have deep conversations. So my criteria of women that I'm going to end up charming, seducing, are going to be people that have a deep mindset, who can talk deep, who appreciate conversation and appreciate meaningful substance of intellect, and are people that have some level of critical thoughts, because I'm a person that's a critical thinker. I attract people like that, but I also knew that the part of me that's wounded, which is either a daddy wound or a mommy wound, that inability, I'm going to meet people who have the exact same wounds out there. I knew that already. So I knew that's my market. I also knew, and I'm just me being real, and it sounds mad, but it is what it is. I also knew that I don't want to mess with people that are not Christian. I need the people that are Christian on the edge, like I'm on the edge, right? Because then we all got the same ideology. We don't need to snitch. I don't need to snitch. You don't need to snitch, because we all Christian here. We don't want no one to know our business. We out here just doing a bit of fun and we go about our business. That was my market. I knew my market. So those are the people that charmed and seduced, and then we end up in the same situation. So what he's saying is absolutely true. But so is Dr. Bryant, what she's saying. You're only attracting your level. So if I want to now marry and I actually really want to be in a stable relationship, here's what I got to do. I've got to improve me, because the women I'm going to keep encountering are going to keep reflecting what stage I was actually at. Those women that I was meeting, I was sleeping with, they were only reflecting the stage that I was actually at. But once I began to heal and I begin to go into therapy and begin to start coaching and start learning about myself and learning about what I actually want and what I need from relationships, what I need from people, I started realizing a lot of these women were never going to be on my radar. They never were, not because of bad, but because that was never my what I actually wanted. And so this is what we have to start learning. Right? So Nick Cannon's right, but so is Dr. Bryant, and he needs to be aware of that. Now, I need Nick to be able to be a bit more aware of the fact that, yes, they were low-functioning women, whatever you want to call them, because when I was low-functioning, that's what I was doing, right? Sleeping around, not realizing the consequences of those actions, that even though people said they were okay, even though women said that they were cool, the amount of conversation I had after Egypt, when I came back with women that I slept with, and they were telling me certain things. I was like, damn, this is what we said that we weren't going to do. But they did it anyway. Why? Because I understood and I couldn't be mad at it. It's because I knew that once you engage with a woman in that sexual capacity, it's always going to end up in that particular way. That's how God has wired us for a lot of women and a lot of men. So you have to understand that and know the game. But I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let you guys know, what's your thoughts down below? Do you agree, disagree? Let me know down below. Maybe